AEW fans are angry with Ric Flair's promo on Rampage. Plus, we have an update on Sting's AEW retirement match, and major Raw changes are coming soon, maybe. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. So tomorrow night on Rampage, Ric Flair and Sting will take the center of the ring to have a chat. It was taped last night after Dynamite, and it was a promo that they recorded that went about 15 minutes by all accounts. During the promo, Ric Flair invited all the women between the ages of 18 and 28 to meet him in his hotel room. No boyfriends, no husbands. Now, whilst many have given Ric Flair a pass on this promo, seeing it as a callback to the sort of thing that he would say in the 70s and the 80s on NWA television, lines like that were a very regular occurrence. The overwhelming majority have lambasted Ric Flair for saying words to this effect, since he comes to AEW with a litany of harassment allegations following him as well, plus a guy in his mid-70s as well saying stuff like this. It just doesn't really fit what the AEW aesthetic's about. Many have called for AEW to take appropriate action and remove the promo from Rampage. It's going to have to be cut, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Because it was about 15 minutes from what I understand.
Yeah, it sounds long. What do you make of this, Tom?
Well, the thing is, it's the sort of thing that if Ric Flair had never said anything like this ever, it would be far more shocking.
Yeah,
it's a very Ric Flair line. Like there is footage on numerous streaming platforms and best of DVDs that has Ric Flair in his heyday cutting promos like this, but it's not a heyday now. And again, he does it in the wake of a lot of harassment allegations that maybe you would want to distance yourself from by saying things like this.
You'd think so as well, and especially when initially we've spoken about this before, when initially there were talks of Rick coming to AEW, obviously the Dark Side of the Ring stuff came out, and AEW were very much like, we're not going to sign Ric Flair because there's lots of things out there about him at the moment. We want to distance ourselves from that and make sure we're not associated with that in any sort of way possible. And then obviously maybe you would have thought that somewhere backstage someone in AEW would have been like, maybe don't sort of harken on those kinds of things as much. Maybe but here we are.
But that's it. And I'd love to know your thoughts, and I'm sure you're sharing them in the comments down there as to whether or not you thought this was just Ric Flair being Ric Flair and it should get a pass, or whether you thought, actually, in this day and age, this probably ain't the way to go. You have your thoughts on it. Let us know down there. Also, last night on Dynamite, we got an update on Sting's retirement match.
Yeah, so Tony Schiavone announced that at AEW Revolution, the site of Sting's final match will take place on March 3rd at the Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. Tony talked about how the Greensboro Coliseum was where Ric Flair defended the NWA World Championship against Sting at the first Clash of Champions. Sting and Flair then spoke, with Flair saying what an honor it would be to be at Sting's side on that night.
Sting's turning on him. He has to. That's the greatest story ever told, is Ric Flair turning on Sting.
And then we get another 45-minute match at Greensboro Coliseum, just like the first one that they had. And it comes to a draw.
I don't know whether... I mean, I was with you, Andrew, all the way up until that.
What do you mean?
Ric Flair definitely turning on Sting. Not a 45-minute match at the Coliseum. Thank you very much. Who do you see Sting's last opponent being?
I genuinely thought it would be
Flair.
Darby. Not Flair. No, I think maybe Darby. I think that would be a really nice way to... In terms of... thinking about it now, in terms of how that match with Ric Flair was a star-making performance for Sting, it would be nice if Darby got to have that kind of performance with Sting.
Yeah.
And then have the torch passed over, and that be Darby's already doing incredible things, but a really good star-making performance for Darby that just solidifies him on the map proper.
Galvanizes
him. Definitely. I think that would be a really nice thing to do.
That seems like the way to go. I guess we'll tell in the next few months on the road to Revolution, which is from the iconic Greensboro Coliseum, of all places. Jericho was on his podcast, which he's one to do because it is his podcast. It'd be weird if he wasn't. He was on Talk is Jericho, gave us an update on Paul White. So we saw Paul White appear in the Sega-sponsored Street Fight, and he got a few shots in, but then got dropped onto a car by by Powerhouse Hobbs, who it looked like Hobbs. It looked like he got a bit sandbagged by Paul White there. It was
he's a big boy. Paul White's a big boy, though, you know.
But Hobbs just muscles him over. And a lot of people talked about Paul White appearing to have mobility issues going into that match, certainly with his leg, and there's a lot of concerns in that. Jericho says Paul had hurt his knee and had some issues where I think he has to get that cleaned out right now. The idea was to involve him showing some of his strengths. Originally, he just wanted to be in the back, but I said, the people in the arena are gonna want to see you. He came out, he beat some guys up, did some Paul White big chops, and chokeslammed Fletcher through a table on the floor, which is huge. Him and Hobbs fight to the back. Hobbs ends up slamming him onto the roof of a car, which is insane. The bump that he took. It also continues to build Hobbs as a giant killer. It worked great. I think we did a great job with show's presentation there. No return date for Paul White to AEW or any plans for him to compete again. I would imagine he's done at this point.
I would imagine he's done as well. I think sort of him being in this match and what he did, especially sort of for Hobbs in the car spot as well, makes Hobbs look like a monster, doesn't it? Being able to lift up Paul White and slam him onto a car. I think it did what it needed to do, and as long as Paul's all right and doesn't have to get in there and do it again, I'm happy for him, because it sounds like he was just like, I'll just stay in the back, it'll be fine, you know. Maybe me and Hobbs can do that spot anyway. It sounds like he's more concerned about helping other talent rather than, you know, getting his spots in necessarily.
Very much so. Stuff, and he's a good guy. He's a lovely guy. Now, Raw on Monday night saw the return of CM Punk, but without Triple H. PW Insider reported that Trips missed Raw on Monday as he was handling other business. PW Insider has since revealed what he's been up to.
Yes, they say, we've learned from several sources in the entertainment and broadcast realms that WWE's Nick Khan and Levesque have been in Los Angeles over the last several days, working on securing the media rights deals for Monday Night Raw going forward. We are told there are several suitors at this juncture.
In terms of who those suitors are for Monday Night Raw, some of the ones out in the front remain Disney and Amazon, because there was a lot of conversation about them buying WWE earlier on in the year. But them hosting the programming would certainly be a way to go. There's a few still words said about Warner Brothers Discovery, perhaps, like they're another one that might be in the mix there. There's no confirmation of that, obviously. And there's talk of a bid from NBC Universal as well to host some of that. But we are expecting to see a deal sort of announced early next year for Monday Night Raw. We've already seen the announcements for NXT and SmackDown in this major TV shakeup that WWE is having. NXT leaving USA for the CW, and SmackDown leaving Fox for USA in October next year. Deals, that SmackDown deal alone set to be worth $1.4 billion.
Mental.
So the price for Raw, knowing that show's heritage, would no doubt be higher.
Yes. Well, what do you think? I mean, out of Disney and Amazon, I think maybe Disney could possibly capitalize on it a little bit more, just because of their reach in the world. I mean, Amazon's reach is huge as well, but you know, you got stuff like Disneyland where you could potentially have like Hall of Fames that you could go to or something like that, or like, you know, you get a wrestling show at Disneyland. Like, I don't know.
It wouldn't be the first time I've had shows at Disney, and it won't be the last, but I think them or Amazon. I think Disney is an interesting one, as you say. They're looking to boost Disney Plus subscribers next year, and having WWE content on there, I think, would be a way to do it. Would this mean a network move to Disney? I don't know at this point. Obviously, there's a deal in place with Peacock, but all deals are always on the table.
Yes.
And I think next year's going to be... I think we'll see a lot of change next year.
Exciting time, isn't it? Really is, to see where all the different pieces of the puzzle fall into place.
This might be the last year that we have Monday Night Raw on a Monday night. End of an era, huh?
It is, yeah.
End of an era. Hey, for the more wrestling news throughout the day, of course, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Keys.
I love you, bye.